soccer fans. We hope you've got your cups filled with some tea because we are ready to talk all things women's soccer with you. My name's Megan Warner. I'm joined by my co-hosts, Harlie Ford and Katie Goodman. We're live. We're excited. How are you both doing today?
Oh,
great.
Radical. Super awesome. Tomorrow is my dad's birthday, so gonna give a first top shelf shout out to Mark Ford. He's my main man.
Yes, happy birthday,
my big
Mark.
cheese. Love that guy.
Happy birthday.
Would not be doing this show, would not be doing a lot of things that I do today without him. So happy birthday, you amazing human being.
Happy birthday, Mark. I've heard a lot of great things about you.
Cool.
Never met you in person, but
Yeah,
I've met
hey.
you two in person now.
Yes,
Last
that
time
is
I
some-
saw you guys was in
that is some
Orlando.
It
We
was
were actually
awesome.
together at one point. How weird, right? Yeah.
Yeah, really strange. We're coming up on celebrating like our first year anniversary of doing this show with the three of us. So it's like, I cannot believe it's been a year, and like this is the first time we've met you, Katie.
I know. I also can't believe how time flies. I'm like,
Ugh.
wow. It's almost weird talking to you on the screen now when I've already met you in person. It's like next time I'm in Orlando, which actually might be in like a month, hopefully if things work out, I might be back. We should do this live there.
Yes, we can plan a little better.
Yes. It was a little chaotic last time, yeah.
I'm sure that First Watch won't mind us going live from their dining area.
Totally
this
fine.
episode's been sponsored by First Watch. Yeah. Yeah. All we need is that coffee and that
and potatoes.
Yeah, potatoes. Oh man. Is it really 8:30 p.m.? Because I'm craving breakfast now.
There's breakfast for dinner. We can have eggs.
Right.
This is fine.
I think that's why IHOP made such a killing, to be honest.
Yeah.
They
got better than IHOP after midnight. You get yourself some junior pancakes and a milkshake sometimes. Oh boy. Oof.
That's
my undergrad. Our IHOP down the street from our college. That was a lifesaver.
Yes. Free Wi-Fi, coffee.
My parents came on vacation to Florida and they were like staying in a hotel with not much around it, kind of near Weber. So it's like, there's not loads going on. And they went to IHOP because they just wanted to get coffee. And so like in they go and they're like, can we just get 2 cups of coffee? And they're like, yeah, sure. And just some pancakes with that. And they're like, no, just the coffee. They're like, just the coffee? Like what? I think it's probably the first time ever that somebody's gone into IHOP and not ordered a mountain of pancakes.
Like, I just want a Joe. Thank you. That's it. Please.
Just the basics today, man.
Yeah. Gotta say, guys, I did not plan on our cold open being about breakfast, but I love it.
Hey, you never know where it's gonna go with us, right?
You never know. that button gets hit and we just who knows what's gonna come out of us. Anyway.
Yeah.
But I suppose we should probably get into some soccer, seeing as we didn't have a show yesterday, which is quite rare. But we're back better than ever because we are live and we can't wait to chat to you guys. So send in your comments if you want. But for now, Harlie, kick us off with some WOSO news.
Yeah, so we got some latest and greatest happening in the women's soccer world, per usual. And it's super exciting because we are live, so this is as hot and piping as it can get, thus the title for today's show. So today, it was just announced that Just Women's Sports has signed a media partnership deal with the NWSL. So it gives the platform the right to distribute NWSL highlights without having to wait for the league to clip and share them first. And so this is a really cool step for the league, especially when you consider just how big JWS has become in the last few months alone. Like the platform, I guess, has tripled in its audience, and they cover everything from like professional volleyball, softball, and now, the professional side of the women's soccer game. So it's obvious that the league has recognized that this is a social media platform that is providing exposure in the best possible means and uplifting the league and interest in WOSO from all kinds of different creative avenues. So it's really cool to see how the interest can grow with this league. I think it's really cool as well to see a platform that's specific to women's sports, because a lot of the times, like, you'll be scrolling down your social media feed and you see like these clips from, you know, men's basketball or men's soccer or men's football, and like those are what go viral and have a million views or whatever. And now this is a platform specifically for women's sports, and you're going to be able to see like the best highlights and the best goals out of these games, and, you know, feel like you're really a part and immersed in what's happening on the field. So that's really cool. Yeah, what do you guys think?
Yeah, I love that they have developed this partnership, because there's so many times, and whether you're covering guys or girls sport, that all of these really great pieces of content have to be taken down, and there's even accounts that have been completely shut down. I know a couple of podcasts that have been shut down because they shared stuff before they were given the right to, you know, and so I think it's really cool that instead of shutting it down, they instead decided to form a partnership. I think that says a lot about how they're trying to build the women's game. I mean, there's already not enough content out there about women's sports. So
Yeah.
I just think that was a really great idea on their part.
Yeah, super exciting. There are an account on Instagram that you often see people sharing their posts because they provide the information in real time. They provide accurate information, high quality pictures with it. And so they're very worthy of this deal. And I'm excited for the growth that's going to come, both for their individual account, but also for the game of women's soccer too. So yeah, really, really exciting news. Also, some more exciting news that has come out. As you can see, I am wearing my England shirt, and that is because the England Women's Euros final squad has been announced. So the 23-player squad. And the team will be led by Captain Leah Williamson and supported by vice captains Millie Bright and Ellen White. And they're going to be competing with Europe's leading nations for the chance to claim the trophy at Wembley Stadium on Sunday, July 31st. So the tournament is getting underway very, very soon. The first game is on Wednesday, July 6th. England will be taking on Austria at a sold-out Old Trafford in Manchester. So super exciting news. And I'm very excited about this squad. My sister was like, hey, did you see Chloe Kelly is in the squad? And I'm like, yeah, I used to play with her back then. And there's a couple of players who I've played against too. And so like, it's super exciting to just see players that I knew and played with growing up being able to make it on this incredible stage. And Chloe Kelly has also recently come back from a major injury too. So I'm really, really proud of her for being able to just prove herself. She's a high quality player. I'm sure a lot of people know her already. And there's a really great blend in this squad of 23 players. You've got players like Jill Scott who have that experience. This is going to be her fourth Euros tournament. She's taken part in 2009, 2013, and 2017. You've got England's all-time leading scorer, Ellen White. She's got 50 goals, and she's going to be making her third consecutive appearance at the Euros. Ooh. And then you've got 9 players who will be taking part in their first major tournament with England, including Chloe Kelly. You've also got Bethany England, Ella Toone, Lauren Hemp, Alessia Russo, Lottie Wubben-Moy, Jess Carter, Hannah Hampton, and Ellie Roebuck. So I am super, super excited, and of course had to rep my t-shirt.
Yes. That's always so cool when you like know someone on the squad personally. Oh man, that's got to feel great. Sounds like they're going to be the ones to watch, you know, in both the Euros and Women's World Cup coming up. I feel like they always kind of are though, you know, between them, Canada, US. So
yeah, absolutely. I always name England as my dark horse just because I love the energy that they bring out there. And it just, you know, there's such both they're steeped in these traditional methods of soccer as well, but with these younger players coming, it's exciting to know what, you know, maybe new formations or new styles of play that could be inhabited on the field. So I'm excited to see them. I always love, you know, Mother England, you know.
Yes, definitely. And then more exciting news that I do have to share as well is moving on over to the UWS. Now on, I think it was Tuesday. Last night was practice, and then the night before it was the first UWS recap show. I've been so busy. My head is all over the place, but the recap show was so much fun. Jonathan from UWS Weekly and I went on, we were talking all about UWS, and that show's probably going to be coming every Tuesday, so definitely keep an eye out for that. And speaking of heading into week 6. I mean, that's pretty crazy. We are getting to that halfway mark. We've got some teams out there with a perfect record. Corktown, 5-0. Lancaster Inferno, 5-0. New England Mutiny, 5-0. Chicago Mustangs, 4-0. Calgary Foothills, 4-0. Coppermine United, 4-0. FC Arizona, 2-0. And Atlanta Panthers, 2-0. And now your ears may have pricked up when I said that Calgary's 4-0 record, because on Sunday, they beat the reigning UWS champions, SC Blue Heat. And that's the first loss that SC Blue Heat have experienced in quite a while. I don't have the official match number, but we all know SC Blue Heat. They are a really, really high quality team. And this game was epic. And Foothills came out on top. They won 1-0. And so that is like a really big deal, I feel like, in the UWS. I know we talk about it a lot, how high quality the competition is, how high level it is. And Calgary Foothills, the first team. Sorry, it was the first time that they were able to beat SC Blue Heat on the road. So a really historical moment for them too. So super exciting for what's to come from that West Conference. Katie, I know you're sat there like,
I know. I'm like, well, but that's exactly why I wish 2 teams from every conference could make it into the national playoff round. Because imagine, both Calgary and SC Blue Heat being in the mix. Like, do you think that could possibly be the national title game? I mean, that's what's so hard about California's conference is like, there's just so many good teams that it's hard to just even get out of their conference versus a lot of these other conferences. And I think we'd get a lot better pulse on what's going on in the league that way. But yeah, no, like that's incredible. And I can't believe we're already halfway through. I swear, last season when I was in the middle of it, I didn't feel that fast at all. Like, and maybe just because I was in the middle of it with practice and games and whatnot. And now I'm kind of living my life out here. But as a, what do you call them, Harlie? Non-athlete people?
The NARP. The
NARP.
non-athletic regular person.
I'm a NARP, y'all. I'm a NARP. And time flies out here, okay? So enjoy yourselves while you got it. No, but yeah, no, a lot of great things happening in UWS. We also have our show Saturday morning. So if you want to hear more in-depth commentary about that, that's really, really the place to go for all that jazz.
Yeah, I just love when Megan texted us in the chat and be like, "Oh my God, SC Blue Heat lost." I was like, "Whoa!"
Like, yeah,
crazy. I mean,
that should say something about them, right?
Yeah, but it's also there's 2 things. Like, I would love to see what Calgary's like game day operations look like for like prepping for that. What the notes were going to be and the plan that they want to execute. And then also, I hold to this philosophy, like you can play the best soccer of your life and lose, or you could play the worst soccer of your life and win. It's just when you the pitch that day, you don't know what's going to happen. So, and I think in Calgary's case, they played the best soccer they've ever played and won. And that's how it worked out for them. So,
and we were very unlucky. Like, they did not play bad. It's just some days the ball doesn't go in the back of the net. I mean, Harlie, we know exactly what that feels like. And Katie was at the brunch, I think it was 2 days after, and we were just going off because we experienced it too. Sometimes the ball just does not go in the back of the net. And that was kind of SC Blue Heat's luck of the draw on that day. And Foothills, they got the job done. And they're a really high quality team, and I'm really excited for them. There's going to be some really epic battles coming up in the West Conference. And like Katie said, we'll be discussing it all on the kickoff show. And I guess but we have a lot more news to share with you.
So much news. Also, do we have any questions yet? I've sent out the plea. No questions.
No questions.
I know we have viewers. I see you guys retweeting us on Twitter. Come on. Anyway, so as I'm sure most know at this point, Christian Press announced that on Monday, she tore her ACL during Angel City's game against Racing Louisville, and that was this past Saturday. So it took a couple of days for her to come out about the injury because she went down in the second half and she had to be helped off the field. And then when she came out on Monday saying that she had torn it, it was just like heart dropping. It was just like, she was so good in that game. She had already put in a goal. She had an assist. She ultimately helped them secure that 3-2 win over Louisville, and it's just a heartbreaking injury to hear about, and one that honestly too many female athletes know about, especially in the soccer world. Like, ACL injuries run rampant. I mean, my own little sister, she tore her ACL, and it was a 9-month plus recovery process. It's insane. This girl that I know at her college, it's just, I think she had like 5 teammates ended up with like ACL injuries, or like they had hip flexor injuries. And it's just like, why are they so prevalent? It's so sad. I don't understand. Our knees, why are they so fragile?
I know. It's really, that could be a whole conversation, like a whole show.
Maybe a whole new topic. The ACL edition.
Yeah.
Oh my gosh, it's so frustrating because like these players, like Kristen Press, you know that she is doing everything right. Like
Exactly.
the recovery that is there, the after games, the prehab is there to strengthen those muscles surrounding the knee. And like, oh, it's so frustrating. And just female bodies are like, just what's the word? Like, we have a tendency
I don't
to
know. I've been told it's all in our hips. I guess that's where it comes from. Who knows?
I would agree with that. I mean, your hips are responsible for so much, not just your knees, but your back. I mean, like everything. It's one of those core areas of the body.
Childbirth.
Your shoulders are one, your hips are one. Yeah, childbirth. It really does. I had a friend who gave birth in college and came back and started practicing way too early and dislocated her hip because of childbirth. Yeah, I know. Your faces. Oh man. I really hope people saw your faces on that one because you were like in dire shock.
Crazy.
Yes. No, but it's true. Yeah, but she ended up being okay and was able to come back and play her final season her senior year. But like that's a lot of things people don't think about, and so I don't know. That's just crazy. And an ACL tear, that is not just like a season ending thing. It could potentially be a career ending thing depending on your age, your ability to rehabilitate, your body's ability to repair itself. So like that's why it's so heartbreaking.
Yeah, and that's actually the other part of this news story, is that for a lot of people they thought, besides, ending her current season with the NWSL, like this is going to prevent her from playing with the US women's national team. But actually it came out from the head coach that she wasn't even on the roster prior to her injury, which was kind of an interesting news drop to hear.
Did they really have to say that too? Give this girl a freaking break. She just like lost the remainder of her season. Do you have to be like, well, actually, she wasn't gonna make it anyway?
She wasn't even gonna be on ours
come
either.
On.
So
come on.
And it just, there's a lot of unanswered questions about that, and I'm curious to see if like anything further is going to come out about that situation, because Press has historically been a tremendous asset as far as like I've seen. She ranks 9th in goals scored for the US. She has a total of 64 goals, and her assist game is next level. She creates opportunities on every inch of the field. And so I don't know. I did a little investigating, but there was like an interview with Laura Lindsay, who's a previous member of the US women's national team, and she's played a lot with Kristen. And so apparently, and this is always a thing with like these kind of stories, there's always something behind the scenes going on. And so I guess there were some issues off the pitch that resulted in Press getting snubbed from the roster. And I just like, it goes back into these conversations of like, what happens like behind these closed doors? Like, what is the nature of these conversations where it's just like a player like Kristen Press is snubbed from the roster? Like, that's like, oh man, I'm so curious about it. But
that is interesting.
Yeah. It doesn't sit right with me, because I feel like there was the perfect opportunity to just like wish her well.
Yeah.
You don't need to answer like that. And it's just like that, like undermining, like negativity that is kind of like surrounding the game, and we just can't seem to like kick it out. And then you see these opportunities where you think like, that could have been a great one to just be like, let's bring everybody together. Let's show our support for Kristen Press. She's done amazing things for the US national team. Maybe she wasn't in contention this time round for your roster. However, she has done amazing things for the country. She's done amazing things for women's soccer. Let's just give her the recognition and the support that she deserves. It really just doesn't sit right with me that happened.
Yeah, agreed.
However,
in lighter news. Oh, also, hey, Andy.
There you go.
So yeah, in some light news, we have Andy King joining us, and Olivia Moultrie has become the youngest player ever to score in the NWSL. This past week, she was able to squeeze one in against the Houston Dash after the Portland Thorns put away the Dash 4-0. Both teams had a very impressive record leading into this match. So this 4-0 result was quite unexpected. And Olivia Moultrie was in on the action. I mean, what an incredible moment for her. She is so young and she's just making huge moves in the NWSL.
Can't even imagine that. Man, I'm like, what was I even doing at 16? What was she, 16, right? Yeah, what was I even doing at 16? I wasn't scoring goals in professional soccer games, that's for sure.
Yeah, and it reminds me of like the conversation we were having where like it was this worry of like, is she going to be okay at that level? And then also, you know, the fact that rules were bent to make sure that she was able to play in this league. And what like an awesome opportunity and a way to showcase her ability and say, yes, I actually do believe I belong on this pitch. So thank you very much. I'll take a goal. Thank you.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's kind of surprising though that we haven't seen anybody else making use of those rules being changed, and like, are we going to see any more young players coming through and potentially deciding I want to take the professional route now rather than going to college? I mean, what are your guys' thoughts on that? Do you think it's going to become increasingly utilized as an option?
That's a good question.
I kind of wonder, like, what pool of 16-year-olds are able to play at that level. It's got to be a really small pool because, like, I feel like for her, that's a huge outlier. Just like developmentally speaking, like my body was nowhere where it needed to be at 16. It was probably where it needed to be to play college when I was solid 18 and a half and went through 2-a-days and drank all the protein shakes and did all the lifting that they told me to do, you know, like, so it's like how many of these 16-year-olds are one, not only physically capable, but able to just like have that skill set already, you know? But like, yeah, why not make use of that? Like, why not make use of their academy teams and fostering that younger talent? I mean, and really giving them a chance to play at a higher level early on. But I think it's more so whether they're able to do that or not, right? But I don't know. It would make sense to make more use of that rule, though, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh, we got Andy coming in. Andy says, I think when the Super League stands up and the salaries are close to NWSL, we see more of it. Teams need to adapt and establish scholarship programs for players who skip NCAA ball. Good point.
Yeah, definitely would be an incentive for them to skip, you know, if
absolutely.
you could give them a salary or, you know, possibly say, hey, if you want to go to school still after the fact, we have this program maybe you can take part in or something of that nature. I don't know.
Yeah, what do you think, Meg?
Yeah, I think the thing that like I have always loved about the whole college soccer thing is that you really do get treated like that professional athlete, and you get to have an education, so you've got that additional qualification, that additional like knowledge for when you go into life and you don't feel so directed down, I must make it in soccer. And so yeah, that would be a huge thing to kind of just consider, in that is we don't want to force not force people, but almost like just narrow the pathway, I guess, to where it feels like you can only do soccer. And then, you know, we've talked about these career ending injuries, and, you know, we don't want to wish them upon anybody, but it's definitely something that people need to consider. So I like that idea of, you know, having kind of some kind of option for them to still at least get some education. These people are so young. It's when you make a decision at 16, that decision by the time you're 21, it could be like, you know, you might have
completely different worlds, you know?
Yeah.
Yeah, and I think another part of it is like I would hesitate to see like a whole slew of youth enter the professional level. It's just because I think it takes a tremendous amount of support, you know, and a lot of resources to make sure that person stays safe and healthy. And so you don't want like career-ending injuries at that age. You also don't want to be put into a situation where you experience mental fatigue because like you are still developing and trying to be a human being. And you know, just making sure that like there's the right support and resources available in that situation, you know, making sure like the family is in the right place for it and the players in the right place for it. But regardless, Olivia, congratulations on your goal.
So. Fantastic stuff.
And then keeping it in NWSL news, 8 NWSL players have been named to the US Women's National Team U23 team, and they'll be traveling to Sweden to take on Sweden and also India in a 3 nations tournament. So representing the country will be Ava Cook, Savannah DeMello, Shelby Hogan, Anna Hefferty, Kerry Abello, Michaela Clough, Taryn Torres, and Brianna Pinto. My goodness, I've been saying so many players' names show so far. But this is super awesome. I mean, what a great opportunity for these players to play on the big stage. The NWSL is being represented so well in this squad of players, which is just awesome. We've now got the means necessary for players to take these call-ups and to be able to go and showcase themselves. And it's exciting young talent that's in the US right now. And who knows what the national team's roster is going to look like in years to come, because there's a lot of young talent pushing for those spots too.
So true. I mean, everything is about the academy and development. And like, as we've seen with Carlie Lloyd, like not everybody can play like well into their late 30s, early 40s. So, you know, she was also one of those outliers. So you have to foster that younger talent. So I love to see that they're pulling these players into the U23 team, and I'd really love to see them be able to make the step from there to the main US women's team as well. And you know, also keeping it in the NWSL, we have some breaking news about Tobin Heath, who just confirmed today that she'll be transferring back into the NWSL. She's now officially signed with OL Reign and for the remainder of the 2022 season, and she is coming back from English side Arsenal. I know, so many twos in this picture. Yeah. No, but she's coming back from Arsenal, which is in the Women's Super League, as we know. And so she'll be back. So last season, she did suffer a pretty severe hamstring injury. So she missed the bulk of the season and ended up having her contract dissolved in April. So, but she has been quoted by Women's International Championship Cup saying, "Couldn't be more thrilled to play alongside the world-class players here, for Laura Harvey as my coach and in front of the amazing community of supporters." So it's looking like it's a really good next step for her. And I think she's another one of those players that we can expect to see on the U.S. women's national team roster for any of their next upcoming games. She's been a superstar for them for quite some time. Yeah. And so, it's always interesting when these transfers happen, just, you know, mid-season, out of nowhere. And so, yeah, very, very cool.
The fact that we get to cover it live. Fresh, hot, piping tea.
Hot off the press, you guys. Hot off the press. And, you know, that's also not the only breaking news we have. Now, this bit of news isn't necessarily women's soccer. It's still men's soccer, but it's still kind of a big deal for soccer fans everywhere because the U.S. men's, the MLS is just, what am I talking about? Wrong topic. The U.S. men's national team is going to host the 2026 World Cup. So the Men's World Cup is going to be in North America between the United States, Mexico, and Canada. And so that's just a huge, huge deal because one of those spots is going to be in Dallas and Houston. And so it's a thrill to me that the World Cup is going to be able to make it out to Texas. And then some of the other cities that they are throwing in the mix is Atlanta, Boston, Guadalajara, Kansas City, Los Angeles, Mexico City, Miami, Monterrey, New York, New Jersey, Philadelphia, San Francisco Bay Area, Seattle, Toronto, and Vancouver. So I just had to put that little bit of news out there because that literally just broke a couple of hours ago. And I think that's going to make a big difference for soccer in the United States in general. I mean, we look at what happened when, anytime there's a men's World Cup or women's World Cup in the United States back in the 90s, I mean, that really puts soccer on the map. So when you bring them back here again, as it's starting to gain traction, we see a lot of building going on in the MLS. We're seeing a lot of serious patronage going for the women's, both NWSL and the U.S. women's national team. So I think that's going to be a really good one. What is this comment?
800 qualifiers in Ohio, but Ohio doesn't get a game.
I've seen a lot of people complaining about multiple cities who haven't been chosen.
Yeah, I saw some people said about Washington, D.C. and
Yes.
I'm not gonna lie, I am surprised that they chose Houston. I think Dallas was like okay, but I was really surprised to see Houston was in the mix and that Texas got 2 cities.
Right. I feel like I'm surprised that Texas did get 2. I mean, I know Texas is huge. Like California has got LA and the San Fran area, which doesn't surprise me as much, but I mean, they got 2 as well. So like maybe we could have just done 1 location per state
I'm curious to see because I know on the Olympic side, when it goes to what country is going to represent and all this stuff, it's kind of a bidding war to see who's going to actually earn that spot. So was it like up to the cities? Was it a bidding game to try and figure out, where it's going to be played and who paid what to get to represent? And
because I also feel like when it comes, and I'm not American, but like from my perspective of Florida, I feel like Orlando's location would have been better compared to Miami's because
in the middle.
Really close to me. No, I'm just kidding.
Yeah. I was just talking to my mom about that. We were like, well,
right, like in the middle, I feel like there's more airports around that you could fly into. You've got Tampa, you've got Daytona on those coasts, and then you've got MCO, you've got Sanford. Like I feel like there's more options in terms of flights,
and there's so much more to.
Right.
Yeah, there's so much more to do there. The Universal Studios, Disney. I mean, like if you were coming from out of town and you wanted the full American experience, I feel like Orlando is kind of it.
Right. As somebody who works for Legoland, I'm working in the tourist industry. I would love for it to have come to
Central Florida. Yeah. So, anyways, Andy, we feel your pain. Well, I guess our state technically got a stadium. Yeah, that's fair. We got someone coming in. Miami has Hard Rock Stadium. It's a better stadium than what Orlando has.
Very true. Okay. You can't lie.
Yeah, because we have what is it, Camping World Stadium now, and then also the OC Stadium. So, no, that's fair. It's all about venue.
However, my friend did tell me that the parking at the Hard Rock Stadium is like thereabouts $45.
I believe that so much. As someone who used to live in Miami, you can't even go to the freaking store, like the grocery store, without having to pay for parking. It's just like so obnoxious. One of the reasons I moved back to San Antonio, where they don't make you pay to park everywhere you go. They're starting to now, though, which is not making me very happy. I'm like, I left Miami for this very reason. But yeah, no, I believe that. And I mean, even in at the Austin FC stadium, it ends up being about like $30-$40 to park, and then on top of the ticket. So it gets expensive just to go to a game.
I've seen a lot of people say Denver. They really would have liked because of its central location, which I also agree. I don't know. It's difficult. There's a lot of.
I think Cincinnati should have been one as well. Yeah, Cincinnati. Nashville's a cool city, but I don't know if it is World Cup worthy. And then Denver, love Denver.
Music City, come on, they get some good jams out there.
Best halftime
country jams. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh
Yeah,
man.
but speaking of, all of these great MLS stadiums, that's where a lot of these games are going to be hosted. The MLS also just signed with Apple. So in 2023, all of the broadcasts will be found on the Apple TV app, and that's including MLS games and select MLS Next games. So all the up and comers. And while that's all really cool, what do you think that this means for soccer? I mean, they're the first of sports, of especially men's major sports, to go in with a streaming service versus one that is affiliated with, say, a Fox or an ESPN or ABC, kind of like NWSL has Paramount Plus that's affiliated with CBS, if I'm right. And so this is the first time that they're really kind of going out and doing their own thing. Part of me kind of thinks this move has a lot to do with the World Cup. But I don't know. I'm really curious to see what that's going to do for also the women's side, if they're going to stay with Paramount Plus or if they're going to move over to Apple and give us the super soccer platform that we've all been wanting. And so we have to pay for 500 freaking streaming services.
Yeah, I kind of would like to see NWSL go over to Apple TV as well. I feel like that could be just such a powerhouse. For all of us wanting to stream both, I think it'd be great. I feel like promoting that cohesion between MLS and NWSL is something that I personally would like to see more of. I know there's definitely differences of opinion when it comes to that. We on this show are definitely all for the women's soccer, but I do think that we could help women's soccer grow if there was more cohesive partnerships between the men's and women's sport. But it's really interesting. And then we also do have that FIFA stream.
Yeah, the FIFA Plus, which is interesting.
Yeah, and so I'm kind of thinking like, well, how is this like interconnecting?
Yeah, I'm not sure.
Yeah.
I guess like with the Apple deal, we're looking at like no blackout dates and like full exclusive access and stuff like that. So I don't know if that would be reflected with FIFA Plus. I don't know. It's really interesting to consider. It's just, there's just constant dance. And, when Katie texted us about this, I was like, it's interesting to consider that this is not just like a women's soccer issue. Like, and it's not even just a men's soccer issue. It is a streaming issue. You don't it's impossible to get a hold on where you're supposed to watch things because it's just this musical chairs shuffle and one chair is going to get pulled out from underneath you and you were like, no, I literally was just about to sit there. I sat down. I paid money for that seat even, and now you're just going to take it.
Yeah, and my other thing is also, what about those people who don't have I don't know how to word it, the technological capabilities to utilize Apple TV? How are they going to be able to watch the sport? And I feel like when it comes to soccer, the audience, especially in America, is somewhat limited. And are we going to just limit the availability and decrease accessibility of the sport because Apple TV is very much, you need to have like good technology knowledge in order to be able to use it. Honestly, am I making the right point?
No, that makes a lot of sense. And something that I remember with that one time we tried to watch and cover that NWSL game together on Paramount Plus, it was pushed back because there was a women's basketball game on, and so it was just hard to watch that. And I just feel like if we could just get all of soccer on one platform, it'd be so much easier. What does this note have for us here? What are you saying, Andy? I'd love to see the Venn diagram of who watches MLS versus NWSL versus EPL versus USL, and what streaming services use languages and so on.
Those leagues are on. Yeah. So, I know 11. I would be curious to see where 11 Sports stacks up there because apparently they harbor thousands of different matches. And Sports Lover says there's too many streaming services these days. Also, all of them don't add up to the quality of HD picture. The qualify of HD cable picture quality. Well, yeah, that's something we've talked about before. It's just there are way too many. It's not just a soccer issue. It's not just a sports issue. It's just like a general society issue. It's insane. You're supposed to pay. It's like a great deal for one service. You pay, your $7-10 or whatever for, a month, but you're supposed to get Paramount. You're supposed to get Apple. You're supposed to get a Peacock. I think Peacock's free. I don't know. Anyway, you're supposed to have Netflix. You're supposed to have Amazon Prime. Yeah. So, it's crazy. And trying to figure out that consistency is a really big question and something that we've always, talked about. And, I don't know. It's a big Mod Podge mess that I don't know if we're going to make sense of. But
it's becoming more exhausting by the minute.
Oh,
it's like, I'm paying more for cable, or I'm paying more for all my streaming services than I was for cable, and it's just all even more scattered and discombobulated. But like, I don't know.
Indeed.
Yes, you used to watch TV for free.
Good. Yeah.
Those were the days. Those were the good old days.
See, what U.S. soccer is going to be on HBO Max? This is crazy.
What?
This is what we're talking about.
There's no
complicated.
Yeah, it's crazy. I feel like this is like the idea of putting sports on streaming. Whoever had that thought they were genius. Like they thought that they were having like such a great idea, and then everybody jumped on the bandwagon and partnered with this people and this people and this people, and then it's actually ended up causing us more issues than it's worth. And maybe we all just go back to regular TV.
Yeah. Everybody put the bunny ears on top of their TV. Go for it.
We still got one of those things. We hang up our antenna and try to catch anything come out of the Orlando area. So,
doing it old
school. I think everybody needs to go home and research which streaming service they think is the best streaming service where they would like to see everything on. And then we at Our Cup of Tea will be...
Yeah, we're going to walk right into the executive offices, grab all these corpos by their neckties, sit them down, and be like, listen, this is it. This is it for us. No more. We can't handle it. It's done. That's what I got.
Done with it. Yes. We'll muscle our way in there, Harlie.
Yeah.
But we should do a poll on our Twitter to see where they would prefer to watch all of their soccer matches. Apple TV, HBO, ESPN, FIFA soccer.
Yeah, I'm also curious. It's just like, the accessibility of these platforms again. It's just like some of them are just not the greatest user friendly, like Megan was talking about. Like, I don't really like how Apple TV works, the way that like you have to, it just like in terms of being able to fast forward or pause or this, that, the other thing. HBO Max is kind of like up in there as well with, in terms of being able to actually have user functionality with it. So I don't know. We experience this as well with 11 Sports, where it's just like you're trying to get the highlights and stuff, and sometimes you're just out of place. So I don't know.
I also low-key kind of feel like the reason MLS has gained more exposure is because they were a part of, ESPN and Fox, and, they were showcased there on those platforms. But now I feel like I'm just worried this might shoot them in the foot a little bit, or there might be some opportunities that I'm not seeing here that could mean, exponential growth for the game of soccer. Or maybe this is the first person or the first group of people who are rebellious enough to say, screw you, ESPN and Fox, we're going to go this way, but I don't know. We'll see. I don't watch Apple TV really, if I'm being honest. Like I only watch it if I'm at my sister's house because she has it. And even then
Andy says 11 is like trying to drink from a wide open fire hose. That is
my God.
Perfect simile.
Don't even get me started.
That was excellent.
Don't even get me started.
It's just untapped. It's just too powerful.
It is.
But also the worst ways. Anyway,
we'll call it a bug. We'll call it a bug that needs to be fixed, right?
Yeah. Ladies, I think we killed it. We covered so much news.
We did
all the Yep. And it's been wonderful. So thanks everybody for tuning in. You know where to find us. We're usually launching our podcast every Wednesday, but we were so glad to have you live, adding your comments in. We're going to have to do it again, like we said. So stay tuned for that. And of course, be sure to tune in always on Wednesdays for our cup of tea. And
Yeah,
that's it.
every
That's all
other
we got.
Wednesday, arguably.
Every other
sometimes.
Wednesday. Yes, every other Wednesday.
I was like, Katie, we don't do this every week. We
The
can't.
one time I close out the pod, I'm like, every Wednesday.
Every
Jesus
Wednesday.
Christ. This is why I don't close it out ever.
No, fun. Megan, you got any closing
And
remarks?
snip, snip, snip.
Well, if you would like to see Katie and me weekly, you can on the kickoff show on Saturday morning. Extra plug there. But yes, we'll be back in 2 weeks' time on a Wednesday, bringing you all the latest and greatest. Am I?
Actually,
I'm getting feedback.
I will be on
right now.
I can hear your feedback. And actually, I did just want to say that I'll be on every other week now because I am starting a show with ESPN San Antonio. I'll be on there on Saturdays on radio on
Yes,
Saturday
girl.
Morning Hangover. So I'll be co-hosting that. So they
So
did
much
agree
fun.
though, because I said I can't give up my soccer. That's like my heart and soul, and I get to really dig deep into it on Saturdays. And so I worked it out to where okay, every other week, and then
That's
go from
awesome.
there. So,
I'll be sleeping in on Saturdays, so you can catch me there,
yeah,
snuggled up with
good
my
life,
dog.
man. I remember those days.
Thank you everybody for joining us. Don't forget to follow us on Twitter, subscribe to our YouTube, and we'll be back in 2 weeks' time on a Wednesday with another show. And we'll keep retweeting and tweeting all the WOSO info to keep you up to date in the next 2 weeks. Thanks for joining us, guys. We'll see you again soon.
Bye.